This episode of Life After Injury has been brought to you by Fornos Law Firm, devoted to optimizing your legal results.
Hello everyone, welcome to Push Rim Life After Injury podcast. This is episode 6, Wheelchair Skills. I'm Ray Pizarro.
I'm Boris Del Cid.
And I'm Richard Bell.
We want to welcome everyone tuning in today and our topic of discussion, which is wheelchair skills, something we had to learn in therapy and soon thereafter when we went home. At times it's scary to become one with your chair and learning all the things to do and not to do. So we're going to pass it on to Rich and let him share his story with us of his experiences of being one with his chair, if you will.
Yes. I'm not going to pretend to be the most skilled person in a wheelchair, but I'll take you through the lessons that I've learned. I started in a power wheelchair right out of rehab, and the first thing I had to learn to do was pay attention, because they have a lot of torque and it's easy to run over stuff, including people's feet. And so you have to be real careful with that. And one experience that I remember that kind of scared me, my wife, I went down with her to the gym in our building, and she accidentally got her sweater caught on the hand control.
No way.
And drove me into a weight stack. And the chair is so powerful, it actually moved the weight stack and scared me to death because I was afraid I might have broken a leg. But fortunately, I was okay. Just I had to get some work done on the chair. Next, I moved to a power assist manual chair, which was a whole different experience. First, getting it measured to fit me correctly was a challenge. I don't think that ever happened, but I was able to fit in it fine, well enough. Even with the power assist manual, from going from a power chair, I was very weak, and it was difficult, even with power assist, to make it from one end of my living room to the next. But after continuous practice, and then practice down the hallway outside of my unit, I got a little stronger, and pushing it became a little easier. With the power assist, the one I had, it was really easy to go up hills. I just had to remember to keep my wheelie bars on because they have power. And that extra power, you can throw yourself back pretty easily. So going up hills was fine. Coming down hills, it gave me, brake assist. And pushing down like a regular flat sidewalk was a little difficult because it would give you assist on the initial push, but then start to brake itself. And it was tiring. So that was the power assist manual wheelchair I had. Next, I moved on to a manual chair. And I found that the manual chair was best for strength building. And I got a lot healthier with it. But just like the power assist manual,
Learning curve.
it was a huge learning curve. I couldn't make it across the living room again, but at least I knew what to look forward to with that one. So I kept working at it to the point where I could go to a mall and push across the mall and then push across multiple times, and kept working at it. It took me a while, but it was well worth it. One of the things you have to remember, though, moving to a manual chair, is to be careful and look at where you're going. You have to be careful with curb cuts, because your wheel could get caught on there, or little rocks, or any little cracks in the road. You have to be really careful, because you will be thrown out of your chair, which I'll tell you about in a minute. And you have to be careful too, because if you're crossing the street and somebody's being helpful, if you're a quad like me, you don't have a lot of trunk, and people can take you by surprise and could cause you to lose your balance and possibly fall out of your chair that way.
Dangerous.
Yes. But as far as falling is concerned, I might be probably the worst offender, at least out of us three. I've fallen because of I tried to dodge a bottle cap once and went off on some uneven road and fell. And I had to yell for a stander-by to go get my neighbor who was way across the way, a couple of hundred yards on the other side.
I'm sorry. We can only find humor in that because we've been through it. So I apologize for those who haven't seen a guy fall out of the chair.
Well, you know what? The funniest part was when I got upstairs, my pants were around my thighs, and my wife was like, "What the heck happened? Where were you?" So, yeah, that wasn't cool. My manual assist was dangerous because of the power, and it actually malfunctioned on me and threw me backwards, and I fell backwards against a concrete wall and slid down the wall and kicked myself in the face with my knee.
Oh my God.
But I had my phone on my knee, so I was able to call for help because there's nobody around. That's another thing. The scariest thing about falling is not the falling for me. It's how am I going to get back in my chair?
The rescue mission.
Right. And I'm not like the lightest guy, so it takes usually more than one person to get me back in my chair. And then there's times where I'm just not paying attention. I clip something and fall out. Boris was the last guy who made me fall. Thanks, Boris.
You're welcome.
We were racing across the street. I told him to slow down. Not to slow down. He slowed down and I clipped a curb cut. That's my story.
And I'm a witness. I was in the back seeing the whole thing go down.
They were all here.
That's right.
But next, you next, Boris. What's your story?
Thank you, Rich. I deny any culpability of that
Of course you do.
alleged situation.
Of course you do.
As a matter of fact, how I recall it, I was going really fast, trying not to slow down. Richard miscalculated the angle of where the curve is cut, and his caster hit that. And let me tell you, have you ever seen or heard a watermelon hit the cement? The noise that it made, that's how it sounded, his face hitting the cement.
Ouch.
It was, I was traumatized for the next 2 hours.
You were shaking a few minutes after that.
I did not like that at all. And Richard basically just, looked up and he said, "You blank blank." And then somebody came and helped him get on it. And then after that, I took a picture of the shiner that he had in his face, and then brought him a cup of coffee, and the guy was fine for the rest of the day. So
took it like a true soldier.
But it was frightening to see somebody fall face first without having the ability to use his or her arms to break the fall, which brings in my discussion now. First of all, wheelchair skills is about safety. Safety is basically what you have learned at the hospital, rehabilitation place, by the OT, and also what you have learned with experience. So, wheelchair skills include, but are not limited to, safety first, avoiding falling either forwards or backwards. Usually, falling forward is due to having poor trunk control, which most of us do not have. So one of the ways to remedy that obviously is to have a bucket seat or angle seat or chair that should be done when you're fitted to your chair.
And accompanied by a seatbelt.
Exactly. Some of us could use a seatbelt. Some of us do not. Obviously the lower your injury in the spinal column, the more trunk control you have, so you may or may not need it. Again, all of this that we're saying right now or conveying to you should be corroborated or consulted with a professional in the field, i.e. PTs, OTs, or certified wheelchair fitters, if there's such a thing. I know they are. But we have to have, you have to have your own done. Everyone is different. So sharing our experiences with our chairs is what we're trying to convey right now. So falling backwards, well, some of us use wheelie bars. I happen to have a high T injury, so I have very little trunk control. My wheelie bars have saved me many, many times because sometimes I go into a spasm and my body just jerks back to the point that I can just fall backwards and, I don't know, break my neck. So wheelie bars, in my case, work. I recommend it for my case, and I use them. Paraplegics versus quadriplegics. Grip. It's all about the grip if you're a para, and it's all about not having a grip if you're a quad. The quads are usually utilizing a specific type of gloves in order to give them grip, and they push through the push rim by gripping that or pushing through it, not necessarily gripping, so they can do that either forwards or backwards for propelling purposes. Trunk stability come in again into the picture because when you're propelling forward, you, depending on the surface, you want to have your body move a little bit forward in order to get a little bit of extra momentum to push. So moving forward requires a little bit of that, especially if you're in a carpet. The carpet, obviously, if you have a manual chair, is very difficult because
Quadriplegic kryptonite.
Exactly. It is deadly. Even for us who are paraplegics, it will put a tremendous stress in our joints, our shoulders, our hands get really tired. And that's something that you have to be prepared for. And usually working out, getting conditioned and all that will help you with it. Again, ramps, ascending or descending ramps, going up or down curbs, and all the things that we encounter, obstacles and areas that we must use in order to get access to the places that we go, require a different type of technique. Ramps going up, sometimes they're too steep. You must either have good grip or be ready to lean forward and put quite a bit of pressure in the push rim in order to get that push up the ramp. And I've seen many times Richard, I've been right behind him, that he has had the strength to push up, but then in that instant that you must let go in order to grip again or push again, you could go backwards. If you have a manual chair, it could be a problem because that power assisted wheels, they lock, but ours do not. So be very careful with those. If you need to tag through those, if the ramp is big enough or wide enough, then you could use that.
And use the momentum.
Or use the momentum.
Depending how big his casters or short his cast, that has a lot to do with it too.
Correct. I was going to touch on that the casters, meaning the little wheels in front, those represent sometimes a liability to us because they can get caught between cracks, little holes, big potholes, rocks, I don't know, really small pebbles or large pebbles. There are quite a bit of obstacles that we must be looking for every time. So safety is being aware of your surroundings, where you're going, forward, sideways, backwards, what's on the floor. Also, I'm gonna talk a little bit about balance sideways when we are getting something from the floor. If you are a para who has the use of their hands, sometimes when you go to retrieve something from the floor on the side, if you don't have side armrests, you may have that feeling of going forward, sideways, laterally. So what I usually do is grab a hold of the wheel, the push rim, to make sure that I'm not going to go all the way, to the side. Again, there's so many things that we could discuss, but I'll just like to touch on this subject a little bit and also give you my count of falls. I have fallen altogether in 6 years, 4 times. One time, I was in Jamaica. 3 guys tried to help me get up 3 steps. The coordination of lifting the front part of my chair versus the back is what caused it. The 2 people in front of me, did not lift as fast as the one person that was behind, and I was propelled forward, landed on my knees on one of the steps. Not very, very nice. Next time, I was in Barcelona. And that is a very accessible place. However, the lip between the ramp and the curve and the street was a little big, a little high, and my casters being small, I hit that and I went straight up. However, I had my hands and arms out, and I did not fully fall face first. The other time was when I was coming back from a trip, and they dropped me on the in the airplane, actually coming out, exiting, on that aisle chair. Make sure that if you're traveling, make sure that you have all the straps put together and tighten in your body. That means two straps in the front in the trunk, and then the one that they use on your legs, because that's what happened to me. They did not strap me and I fell off. And the other one was on my shower chair. Taking a shower, I was doing my feet and I went forward, lost my balance, and ended up in the floor of the bathroom. So that's it, Ray.
Wow. Yeah, I could definitely relate to a few of those things that went down as far as, skills and falling. For me, it was, they taught me briefly, I could remember, it was hard to do it as, because I had a halo. So wheelchair skills were not kind of the focus, when I briefly stayed at my rehab. So I had to learn all this stuff when I got home. So, I remember my first fall, at home. I caught a rug backing up and my front casters caught it and it tipped me back and I slid on, I remember in my hallway, hit the wall and slid down slowly, and didn't hurt myself. Luckily, my mom kind of panicked when she saw me curled up on the floor. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Nothing, no pain, nothing. It's just my pride, I guess, was hurt.
Yes.
But a total fall count for me is like 5 in about 18 years. So in
Not
each
bad.
fall, I learn a little bit, you believe it or not, of what my limits are. And it makes me more conscious and makes me approach different challenges and obstacles a different way. Like we were mentioned earlier, those I'm just going to give you a list of my pet peeves of what I accomplish, of what I face when I'm out in the street and stuff. Is one is I had to learn is the angled curbs. The angled sidewalks where they're at an angle and you have to work
those.
one side of your body more than the other. I guess they do that for rain runoffs. That's the only thing I could think about why they angle those curbs so much. And by the time you get up that block, your right or left arm are like beat to, they're about to feel like they're going to fall off. So that's one of my pet peeves. Another one is potholes on the street, and little cracks that, if you hit that with your front caster, depending on the size of your casters, there's 2-inch casters, 4-inch casters, 5-inch casters, and 6-inch casters. So depending on what angle you hit it, how deep the pothole is, that's what your outcome's going to be. I don't take chances. Even if I think I'm going to hit it, I go around it or over it or do the bump up, that bump up at the end of curbs when they have like about an inch or an inch and a half of how you can't just, plow through that unless you have really big casters. And even then you feel them when you hit that thing full speed. So those are things that really get on my nerves and I've fallen on the street, because of those issues. And I do let people know to be proactive in your community. If you see something that's a hazard, like a sidewalk that the roots of a tree have pushed up the concrete and you cannot go through there, write your local city and tell them there's an issue on this street in front of this home, this address, and tell them you almost, if it's something that you think is dangerous, address it and write a nice letter to your local city department that this is the issue. Most of the time they take action. They come out or either patch it temporarily and then get back to it and redo the whole, slab of concrete or take the tree down or whatnot. But, don't be afraid to reach out and write these people that there's issues in your neighborhoods or in different cities that you go to all the time.
Send them a picture. Take a picture with your phone or something, camera, and when you write to them, send them a picture.
Yes.
Show them exactly where it is, how it is, what it is that you're trying to to tell them to repair.
Exactly. That's the only way they're going to get that visual. A letter and then some photos via email or a hard copy. You're going to have a record of that, and if someone else gets hurt, then you could take different actions to remedy that. But always be proactive. Don't ignore something that someone could potentially get hurt, because you're looking out for yourself and other people, the elderly or fellow wheelers that have to go through these obstacles. So take time and make that call or write to them.
Exactly.
We have gotten results in the future for that. So
you've done that before, Ray?
I have, and the things were changed. The only way I could have did that is if I would have wrote them, and that's the results of being proactive and responsible. Because I think there is some kind of responsibility you take in looking out for your fellow wheelers when you make that call and make those changes. So, I mean, those are a few topics that we all had to deal with, and we can get so in depth as far as the size of your casters, how much bucket you have, the camber in your chair, the back angle. I mean, there's so much, but that's when you go into your professionals, your therapists, your doctors, at a seating clinic, and they'll be able to address all those things based on your injury. So, I mean, anything else you guys want to add before we wrap up?
Oh, no.
Let us know if there's anything in particular you'd like to know about, so we can address those issues in future podcast. We're always really, we're willing to address the issues.
And one more thing before I forget, very important to make sure you do maintenance on your wheelchair. That's one of the most important things too.
Absolutely.
Is make sure your nuts and bolts and brakes,
and get
most
the hair
importantly,
out of your front casters.
yes, make sure you tune up. It's part of you now. So take pride in your chair. It's part of you now. So have someone help you clean it up, lube it up, tighten brakes for you to make sure your equipment is properly working. So with that, we're going to wrap up. And Rich, you want to let people know where they could find us?
Yes, you can find us on our YouTube channel, Club Pushroom, and Boris.
And also follow us on www.pushrim.com.
And Ray.
That's right. And also on iTunes. We're on iTunes now. So in your iTunes podcast search, just type in Pushrim and you'll see our podcast. So you could download us into your mobile device and take our topics and discussions on the go.
Hey, don't forget to put air in your tires. It's easier to roll that way.
Yes, definitely. And remember, you guys, happy wheeling, safe wheeling. And remember, there's always life after injury. Think we're all right. Peace out. Take care.